Welcome back to Nights with Chris Boyle. Here we are back in the studio, ready to enjoy a well-deserved drink with none other than Trevor Alcorn of Tridentine Brewing. Trevor, dude, thank you so much for joining the show tonight.
Thank you so much for having me on tonight, Chris. I really appreciate it.
Dude, I've been looking forward to having you on. So first off, you are doing an awesome thing. You're making this beer brand that is one of the first beer brands, not one of the first Catholic beer brands I've seen, not one of the first faith-associated ones, because that has a long, ancient history, but one of the first secular ones that's done in this very cool way. You guys are making these awesome beers that you were generous enough to send over to the show in this beautiful packaging. So I want to actually do an on-camera tasting. I'm going to have you recommend, though, what order should I taste these in?
If I were you, I would taste them lightest to darkest.
Lightest to darkest.
Yeah, so that'd be Quartermaster Jerry Blonde Ale.
All right. And then
so that'd be the first one.
So why don't you tell us, how did you get started brewing this beer? This is a very new brand, but a very good brand. Talk to us a little bit about what inspired you to get started.
Of course. Yeah, it goes way back. Actually, my family for a few generations had been brewing beer at home. It was something that I had been doing with my father, actually now for the last 10 years. And we really decided, okay, let's take it to the next level a few years ago. About 5 years ago, we decided, let's take this from just something that's fun that we do a few times a year to the next level. My father was retiring, and so my brother does graphic design, and so we branded it as a God Family Country type of a brewery, where that's really what we're doing with our various labels and our brews. And so we have really, the goal is brewing beer for the greater glory of God. That's kind of the ultimate goal that we have. But that's really what launched us. And so we were just posting it online on social media. It was still a home brewing brand. And actually until this year, where we decided, okay, let's take this commercial. Let's see how it does, because we had such a really great response to it on social media, just from family and friends. And we thought, okay, let's see where this thing goes. And, we'll see what people think in real life once they're able to get their hands on it, because unfortunately up to this point, it's been something we've only been able to give to family and friends. But now we're in the state of Wisconsin distributing it, and we'll see where it goes from there.
You know, it's interesting. You talk about the online hype, and I think you guys launched your brand at just the right moment. It was when, the kind of Bud Light scandal was going on that I saw you guys really, really take off. And I think there was a real hunger in the market for brands, and not just beer, quite frankly, but brands in general that really represent the cultural values, the social values, the moral values that individuals stand with. Because the truth is that, we used to think that, brands, they don't have anything to do with morality, and it's only when they injected themselves into the left wing. I think that's an illusion. The reality is that we're giving our money to people who spend it in all sorts of ways, and they do support all sorts of things. So it matters to get behind a brand that it is kind of in line with your worldview. That said, you guys got a lot of attention before you even launched. I was wondering, is the beer going to be good? And now tasting it, so I'm shooting out of San Diego. I think I'm qualified enough to call myself a beer snob. Probably not half as much as many of the people who shoot with me, but this tastes like a blonde ale. So I mean, this is a classic San Diego style beer, right? We got a lot of blonde ales out here. This is, and with the ships on, it almost seems like you're kind of hearkening to that. And this is a good beer. It's a little tart, a little sweet, a little fruity, but also very, very light. Exactly what you'd expect from a blonde ale. Talk to me a little bit about how you guys got into making these flavors, how you got started, because you said you've been brewing beers like this for a long time, for generations. Talk to me a little bit about how you selected and designed what your taste profile would look like for these beers.
Yeah, absolutely, Chris. So really, it's an interesting process, because sometimes we would start in mind of a style, and sometimes we'd start with an idea in mind of a particular, let's just say, theme. And then, so for example, with Quartermaster Jerry, the one that you're drinking right now, the blonde ale, it's the lightest. It's about as light as you can get. And that was on purpose, because my paternal grandfather, he's the one who's actually featured on the label there. He was a U.S. Navy veteran, and he actually would never really drink our homebrewed beer, because he loved much lighter commercially produced beers like Busch Light, for example, Budweiser. And after his passing about a decade ago, we decided, all right, let's brew something that Grandpa would actually enjoy, that he would actually really like. So I think that we hopefully hit the nail on the head. And I'm very confident that he would actually drink this particular beer, and maybe even replace some of the beers that he had been drinking with this one.
It's a really, really fantastic beer. Again, it has that classic San Diego taste, but San Diego, we're not just American-style beers. We're very close to the border. You guys also make this Mexican-style Cristeros beer, which is amazing because it harkens back to a really, really awesome history of people who fought for Christianity against very dark secularism. So why drink a secular beer when you could drink a holy beer instead? You guys are making an entire line of beer. I'm going to take a sip of this, but then I want to talk to you about probably what's going to be one of my favorites here, this Dies Irae, which is an imperial stout. Let's try this, though. Talk to me a little bit about designing a Mexican lager. So would you call it a cerveza? Would you go that far?
You know what? It's like more like if I had to pin it down, it'd be more like a Negra. A Modelo Negra. It's a little bit darker, and that was on purpose. So we wanted to do something that would be much closer to what the some of the brewers in the 19th century who came over from Germany and Austria, when they brought beer styles, it was actually more like a Vienna lager, and they adapted it for Mexico because there was a lot more corn available. So they ended up putting a lot more corn as an adjunct into the grain bill, and so it differs a little bit from a Vienna lager, but it's much darker than what you'd think of as just like a cerveza, like a Corona or something like that. So, but yeah.
It's definitely, I mean, it says right here, clean, malty. It almost has like some chocolatey flavors. It does taste like a darker Mexican beer, though. You're absolutely right. It does taste like a Negra. It's very, very good. It's actually, it's even better than I thought it would be. I like cerveza. I like cerveza when I'm grilling. That's like when I'm out there like with my father-in-law or something, we're grilling. It's cervezas 100% of the time. My taste preferences actually go toward darker beers. That's why I was super excited to see that you guys released this Imperial Stout. I want to talk to you about this beer as well. Also about the future for your project. I mean, you guys just got started. This is kind of your first run. I want to make sure that this isn't a limited run, that these awesome beers are going to be available for folks. Tell them where they could be available. After the break, though, folks, you're not going to want to miss this when we're back in 2. Welcome back to Nights with Chris Boyle. Joining us now back on the show is Trevor Alcorn of Tridentine Brewing. So Trevor, before the break, we were talking all about how you took your family's tradition of brewing, not just beer, but quite frankly, delicious beer, and turned it into something that you could sell to the entire world. Now, I'm a big fan of this kind of thing. I think that more and more as we move into this very America-first economy, there's this push, maybe you've seen it online, there's this push over productivity and this debate over how hard folks should be working and everything. I'm going to be controversial. One of the things that I actually liked about COVID-19, this is very controversial, but I like the idea of folks working at home in the sense that that's very traditional. You used to have father's workshop. You used to have sons working along fathers, mothers working along their daughters. And I think that's something that you are potentially on the cusp of doing really, really well here. Really selling a family tradition, not selling it off, but sharing it in a way that allows you to build something up for your family. It's very, very cool. Talk to me a little bit about what the future for Tridentine Brewing is going to look like while I try out this Imperial Stout, which I might get in trouble. This is 10.1% ABV. This is no joke. This is the kind of thing monks would be drinking this to get through Lent, I imagine.
Yeah, that's even a bit heavier than what some of the monks would have had with the Doppelbock. But yeah, no, for us in the future, what we're looking to do is we're just looking to continue to expand its availability right now with the beer and add additional styles going into next year. We have a couple additional styles we're going to be adding, but really getting beyond even just Wisconsin and Illinois. So our family's from Illinois. We've made it available starting in Wisconsin. And it's going to be available in Illinois soon. And the question we always get is, well, what can I'm in California, I want to get it. I'm in Texas, I want to get it. How can I buy it? And so we really want to make that available for people And we're really going a more traditional brick and mortar route just because of the laws. There's a lot of red tape still around alcohol in the United States. Every single state has its own regulations. So actually, most states don't allow shipping alcohol to consumers. So we're almost forced into this route of bringing it brick and mortar. So that's the plan, seeing what we can do. So hopefully we're able to get to a few more Midwestern states in 2025, and we'll see where it goes from there. If sales keep on going and they're strong, then we'll just keep on expanding its availability.
That's beautiful. And folks at home, I know we have a lot of people who watch this program, not just Knights, but OAN in general, who are very entrepreneurial. Folks at home, if you want to get involved, be distributors, get in touch. Go to Tridentine Brewing. Get yourself, become a part of this awesome movement. Trevor, dude, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Have a happy New Year.
You too, Chris. Thank you very much.
And that's all we have for you this evening. That's all we have for you this year. Until next time, you could follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Hey Chris Boyle. And if you like the show, please send feedback to chris.boyle@onn.com. And you can now visit our merch store. You can get hats, you can get shoes, you can get fanny packs, you can get your New Year loot. I'd like to thank my entire production team, my director Josh, my editor Raphael, my producer Alexandra, and to all of you at home, thank you. And enjoy the rest of your night. Shouldn't have opened all these, man. I'm not going to be able to finish these and drive home. Whoa, the camera's out of control too. Get back. Don't steal my beer camera. Get back. It's mine. It's mine. It's not motor oil. Get away from me. It's going to fry your circuits. It's going to fry my circuits.